Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name is Matt Lees and I'm joined by Simon Miller.
Greetings.
Dave Scammell. And Tom Orry.
Is that a Teletubbies noise?
That was a Teletubbies reference.
That's not topical or cool.
It's not topical
What's wrong
or
with the
cool.
Teletubbies?
I hate the Teletubbies.
They're not topical or cool.
Yeah.
Didn't they get in trouble for teaching kids how not to speak?
Oh yeah, that was nonsense though. I really liked Teletubbies. I had a Poe keyring because I was one of those teenagers who was like, oh, it's ironic. And then he died one day when I left a cream egg in my pocket and the two merged in ways which were never.
Were you more upset
meant
about
to be.
the cream egg being non-edible?
To be honest, just the whole period of
mess
putting
of
your
it all.
hand inside of a pocket and realising you left a cream egg in there 3 hours ago is quite an upsetting experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you kind of go...
I had a mini egg in my pocket on holiday. That melted a bit.
Yeah, see, a mini egg's all right. A cream egg...
It's got a shell, protective shell.
Cream egg, you reach in and go, who's
Yeah.
done a shit in my pocket?
A lovely shit, though. Cream eggs are amazing.
Well, not when you don't know what it is. Anyway, video games. So, how is everyone doing in the world of video games? Let's have a quick chat about what we've been playing this week. I warn you, in contrast to usual weeks, I've played loads of stuff.
What?
Probably good because I haven't played a single
I
game.
played one game.
Okay, let's kick things off with you then, Simon. What have you been playing?
All right, and I expect the appropriate response. I've been playing DuckTales.
Woo!
Thank you very much.
I'll tell you what, right? I'm just going to go out there because I've not played it at all. However, I've seen it. I think it looks like shit.
It
No.
looks like balls.
You know what? It's one of those jobs. I think it looks like every one of those games where they say, "Oh, we've updated it." It just looks like, yeah, you
But
have.
If you
Yeah,
look at that Mickey game Disney are doing,
No, I think it looks bad too.
it looks better than this. Though,
No,
'cause
I-
they've gone with one style and all the way
Do
through.
you mean 2D, 3D?
Well, this is the Mickey one is just 3D,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
right,
But
yeah.
it's a 2D platform. This
Yes.
is kind of a weird mash of
Both of them,
new
yeah.
2D art and horrible.
This is a
3D.
big hatred of mine when they go, hey, look, it's a HD remake. And you go, no, but what you've done there is you've made it so that it is HD resolution. Sure, that's technically right.
Yeah.
But you look at the original DuckTales game and it had a nice art style, had a nice art direction, whereas I think this new game is ugly as sin.
This is like you gave a child who were sort of passable at painting a paintbrush and said, just paint over the top of the
There's
old
no
one.
flair. There's absolutely, it looks ugly. But
It's well, yeah, but it is. I don't massively like the art style, really. I mean, we can't sort of get into the review specifics till next week, but they sent us a preview code last week as well, so we can talk about it. And it's just all right. It's just all right. You know, it's the thing that if you played it when you were a kid and you come back to it now, and everyone goes, "Oh, DuckTales was so hard. DuckTales was so hard. Oh my gosh, it ruined my life." Do you know why it's hard? Because it's a piece of shit. You know, it's not hard because, but it's not hard because it challenges you. It's hard because it's just kind of broken.
Do the pogo jump.
We're talking about the original DuckTales here.
Yes.
As a piece of shit, just to be clear.
Well, it is now.
The original DuckTales. The new one, who knows?
All right, I'm with you now. That's right, of course.
confused there. You're like, I can't review it until next week, but it's a piece of shit. I was like,
Well, no,
what?
but I could have told you that when I played the preview version as well. 'cause
Oh, no,
the preview
yeah,
version
sure.
was still sort of half
Well,
the
I
game.
don't know. It was made by the guy Keiji Film, wasn't it? The
Yeah,
guy
it
who
was.
made Mega Man.
It's a good game, but some bits, you know, the bits when you go, "Oh, that's really hard." It's really hard because it's designed stupidly. Like, it's not hard because you've learnt a skill and now it's testing you with that skill. It's hard because it's like you see that sort of 1 inch gap between those two things. Put yourself there.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's not. That's just a trial and error. I'm just going to throw myself into it and see what happens.
It just becomes a game of like immense technical skill. And I was actually thinking about this the other day and the fact that the things we used to forgive of NES era games.
That's it. That's exactly right. It doesn't. And playing it now, I just haven't got the patience.
I don't know if
Is
it's
it
just
to do
a-
with the fact that games used to be about 2 hours long at most.
Yeah.
They had
Well, I
to
was
be
gonna-
ridiculously hard, otherwise you'd finish them about.
I think that
I
was
was
it.
going to
you know?
say that it feels like an arcade game. It feels probably was it in the arcade? Probably not.
Probably.
But it was of that era where if we make this game really hard, people have to keep putting pound coins into machines.
I think it was what Tom said of like, especially because there were less games when we were kids, and it wasn't even a case of if you had loads of money. I remember going into WH Smith's and looking at the Mega Drive shelf, and they had like it wasn't even a very big shelf, but they had all of the Mega Drive games in it, like, because there just weren't as many.
I remember feeling guilty when I finished Sonic 3 because my parents bought it for me. Then about 6 hours later, and I was done with it.
Yeah, no, same. I remember that.
And
but
I felt
Sonic
really
2,
bad.
Sonic 2 took a lot longer because it was hard. And so the first Sonic was bloody hard. I couldn't complete that without cheats for years. But I guess it was, longevity was just the thing of, they made it hard so that you couldn't complete it in one go. Whereas now things have changed.
It does feel like, but I just not something I want to get into anymore. I mean, there are probably some people out there that are really excited about it, and it is hard. Like, you know, it's really unforgiving in the sense that if you kind of, even if you play it on quote unquote normal difficulty, you know, you get 3 hearts, and 2 continues.
I think
And then
it's
if you
just-
die, you get kicked back out to the menu screen. It goes, right, do it all again.
We've
What,
changed
from the beginning?
Yeah.
That's the thing. We've changed the way mechanisms, like reward mechanisms and difficulty mechanisms, work in game. And there've been so many changes have happened. I think a lot of people might say, "Oh yeah, but games have been dumbed down. They were harder back then. Now they're too easy." But actually, it's not that simple. It's more that we've learnt more efficient ways to
That's
do
the thing.
that.
There's more options available to you now. So if
Well,
you
also,
actually want to make a difficult game, you don't have to just say. Like another thing DuckTales does is it just said, "Well, in this screen, we're just going to throw 7 million enemies at you." It's like that's not hard. That's just I don't even know what it is. But if you throw 7 million enemies at me and there's only kind of an absolute tiny space that I have to wait for them all to go past, it's not really difficult. It's just more like you're being a dick. Stop being a dick.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, I've been playing. One of my favourite types of game is roguelikes. You know, like Rogue Legacy. I've been playing a lot of that recently. Rogue Legacy is hard of nails, and there's a lot of that which is like carefully tweaking platformer jumping and like trying to position yourself between a mess of stuff trying to kill you. It's really hard. But obviously, the way that handles that is it means if you're really good, then you can play it really skillfully like an old school game and not get killed, and you'll get killed in a couple of hits. But then every time you die, you take back some points that you spend on getting more health or more damage, which means that it gets gradually easier. There's always that steep difficulty curve for those who really aren't afraid of that, but it means that when you die and restart, it's not just like, you didn't do it, start again, without any sense of progress.
Maybe a sort of problem here is me, and I used to love
I don't think
those
so.
games.
I think that games now that are that hard, they always give you something. They always give you a sense of like, well, you didn't do it, but at least you get to keep this.
Yeah, you don't get that. I mean, you
something.
literally are just Scrooge McDuck on a pogo stick. And that's it. You don't get anything else for any, throughout your duration of the game. And it's just, I don't know, half the times I die and I think, well, I don't see how anybody could have avoided that. Like, that was something that was going to happen regardless. It's a lot of trial and error as well. And trial and error kind of, I'm bored of that.
Meat Boy was built around that, I guess. But the fact that Meat Boy, it sounds like a totally different structure. I didn't realise that this didn't support like game saves by the sound of it.
No, you die. You get kicked out back to Scrooge McDuck's vault and it goes, right, start again. Good luck. Well done, Scrooge.
People are really looking forward to this.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine Meat Boy if it was
If it had a life
start-
count.
Well, it was full like levels that lasted like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
but really difficult because it's always just like when you do it, it'll take like 10 seconds to do a level.
Yeah.
But doing it will be really hard.
Yeah.
I think there'll be some people that love it still. I think a slight problem. I don't have to wait and see how other people respond to it. A slight problem may be me, and just I don't want to kind of play these games anymore.
Did you play the original much?
Yeah, obsessively when I was
right.
a kid.
That's interesting.
That's what I kind of thought when I was playing. Is like, how did I ever
I think it's to
do
with,
this?
like, when you're a kid, you have more time to spend on one thing.
That's the thing.
Like you'd have 1 or 2 games a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And you just put
Yeah.
all your time into these games. And
So you would get
really
good at it, yeah.
Like me and my brother completed Gunstar Heroes about 8 times.
It's pretty tough.
And we completed Mickey and Donald Castle of Illusion
That's
as well,
really tough.
which is amazing. But yeah, both those games. And actually, I went back to play Gunstar Heroes recently thinking it'll be a piece of piss because I've completed it that many times. Couldn't do it. I kept dying.
That's the thing.
I'd like memoried myself into oblivion. But
So I mean, I don't know. It knows it's a bit of a piece of shit as well because when you do, but what I mean is you've got all the levels. So you've got the moon, Himalayas, African jungle, Transylvania, whatever. And it knows that you're gonna. And you need variety because every time it kicks you out, it lets you choose where you go back to. I remember doing this as a kid as well. So you try the moon, you die. You think, well, can't do that again yet. It's too familiar. So I'll try Himalayas. Kicks you out. Think, oh well, I'll try the other one. So it knows you're going to do this back and forth thing. And after I kind of did one. I think I did Transylvania. And then once I'd sort of given all the other ones a go, that kind of something. I had that feeling of, oh well. I mean, I'll persevere, but I don't really want to. I don't really want to carry on doing this. So I don't know. I think it's a product of its time.
I think I prefer Quackshot. I like Quackshot.
I was going to say, was it Quack Attack as well? Or was it
I don't
Quack
know.
Shot?
Quackshot was the one that was like almost had like kind of point and click elements, and the fact that you'd have to travel around the world and there'd be puzzles in different areas.
Yeah.
It was a big ghost ship.
That was
It
a great game.
It was hard, but it was really cool. I don't know. I think this weird. I'm really not big into the HD remakes of stuff of that era. And if anything, actually, I think HD remakes for games. I'm really looking forward to HD remakes of stuff like PS2 generation continuing. Like, why haven't they made Final Fantasy 12 HD? Because it was clearly a pretty game underneath all that fuzz. But with this stuff, it's just like, I don't understand why people are willing to throw so much money at damaging their own nostalgia.
Like Simpsons Arcade, I remember being quite excited
Yeah.
about coming out. I think it was
Yeah, and you
released on,
play it, yeah.
I think it was like iOS first, and they put it to
And it makes you
XBLA and
realise
PSN.
that your
I
memories
did
of
play
a-
it through, but it was more like just because I had it and I thought I should just see it all through, and ended up just spamming continues.
It's the same with the Turtles arcade
I
game.
didn't feel
as well.
anything achievement-wise. I just spammed through
I
it.
had to review Sonic Adventure 2 on one of the last things I did at OXM before I packed up my bags.
Here.
I loved Sonic Adventure 2.
I don't think Sonic Adventure 2 is great, to be honest.
I loved it when it was on Dreamcast. I have such fond memories of playing it for an entire summer and then reviewing it on the Xbox for the remake. It was like, I just felt like the process of playing it, I was physically urinating over my childhood. It was just like, I realised that I was an idiot for liking
weird.
it.
Even the first one, like Sonic
First
Adventure,
one's appalling.
It's awful now to play it, but back then, like,
It was
that
cool.
was amazing. Possibly we're blinded by the whale and everything else. But we made one of our friends buy a Dreamcast for this game, and it was like a big thing. Like when that launched on the Dreamcast. But now it's just awful.
I just think leave it, and that's why in a way I keep getting excited about New Phantasy Star Online, but I don't think I'll ever like them again in the same way. But
Things do change. That's the thing. I know it sounds a silly thing to say, but once you're introduced to, even if you don't realise you're being introduced to something, knowing that whatever that may exist as we plough on through this life of ours means going back to something before that did exist is like, oh.
But you know what? I think with stuff like this, I'm not big into this. Let's redesign these ancient platformers. It's like re-release them if you want for a couple of quid. Brilliant.
I would have preferred it if it had this old art style.
Well, that's the thing, is basically because when you have a modern art style, but you still have these really ancient mechanics, it means you don't really get the nostalgia of the art style in the areas, but it means also it really highlights just how old school the mechanics are.
Yeah,
Like
I was excited about it though. Simply because, like I say, because of the nostalgia aspect, and I did get something out of it. It just,
The best part of the whole thing was when they announced it with the trailer. The trailer was exciting. They had the music, and
where's the music? I watched you load that game up.
There was,
not once.
Well, it starts on the title screen with the original music, and then you never get the DuckTales theme again. To be honest, they should just have the DuckTales theme playing constantly. That's not even a joke. I'm serious. It should start off with it with vocals, and that should then carry on throughout the entire experience to the end. I'd be happy with that. I can always turn it off. I can always mute the sound.
You definitely not? You can't choose to have like the original version or anything. It's just
You may do. I don't know. I haven't. I pushed all the buttons. Nothing happened. But cause, in a similar sense, like because I love the Monkey Island remakes. But I guess it's a point and click game, so I just enjoy doing the old puzzles, and I enjoy going back and forth between the two. I love both of them on Xbox Live Arcade.
They were handled better than this.
But I didn't actually like the art style of the remake for the Monkey Island games.
they were pretty
But
poor.
I still, he had stupid quiff hair. But I still enjoyed playing them. So maybe I didn't actually enjoy DuckTales that much as a kid, and I'm kidding myself.
It's because they haven't altered what was good about Monkey Island, which was basically the dialogue and the puzzles.
Well, you're right. The core is still there. Maybe DuckTales as a platform wasn't as good as I remember it.
I don't know.
But of course, I don't know any of this until next week.
No, of course. So what other games have you been playing? Have you been playing anything, Dave?
We've been playing a little bit of Brothers, and I won't talk about it too much because
What's it called? What's the colon?
Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
That's the one.
I'm really excited by that because Chris is kind of doing this thing because he's finished it and he's now not on the podcast today.
He's raving about it as well. He's very
raving
excited.
about it in an interesting way. He's being very careful not to say anything about it because I get the impression it's one of those games that's it's only about 3 hours long.
It's.
I read that it makes people cry.
Did you? It's kind of what I'd expect. The closest thing.
You shouldn't do that.
It's the closest thing to Journey on Xbox Live. It's on Xbox Live and PSN and PC. But if you're an Xbox player, I think it's the closest thing you'll ever get to Journey. So it's not.
How is it close to Journey? In what way?
It's that similar kind of adventure. Do you know what I mean? Where you're thrown into something you don't really know why you're there or what's going on. Really, you have a loose idea.
So
essentially,
is it an experience rather than a game.
Yeah, almost.
Oh, they're my favourite things. Right, I'm sold.
It's good. I mean, basically, it's you control these two brothers, and who I assume is their father. He is dying, and you have to climb this.
Spoiler?
No, it's not. It's the beginning of the
It
game.
was a joke, Dave. You got really too defensive. Then I was only kidding.
And you have to work your way up to the top of this mountain. I assume to get something to help him out a little bit to get him off his deathbed.
Cowpole.
Yeah, cowpole.
Oh yeah, that solves anything.
And that's all you really know. And so you set off on this adventure. But the big thing about it is the control mechanics, in that you control both of the brothers at the same time. You control
Like in that Wii U mini game on Nintendo Land.
There was a whole PS2 game with a pink and yellow rabbit where you had to do this.
Is there really?
Is it like Mario and
It was
Luigi?
bloody hard.
In the RPG on 3DS, those games. You control both of them, but they kind of roped into one another. So anything you do,
It's
they're
just a
both at the same
stick each, isn't
time.
it?
Yeah, you control one character on the left stick,
Right,
one
okay,
character
so
on the right
something
stick.
like that. Okay.
But one brother is older and taller, and the other is shorter and younger. So they each have their own
Unique powers.
They're not powers, but like the younger one can be boosted up to stuff, and then he has to pull the rope down to let the taller one climb
Okay,
up.
that's
So
nice.
it's things like that.
Sweet.
It's quite basic so far in terms of puzzles and stuff. It won't tax. It hasn't. I'm about an hour in. Apparently, it's only about 3 hours long. But you don't really mind that it's kind of easy to play. That's kind of the joy of it, really. It's just you're soaking it in as you're going through it. But No, it's really nice. It's made by Starbreeze, who did the Riddick games and Syndicate.
Starbreeze are wonderful atmosphere, and the fact that I loved one of the things I really loved about the Darkness. Because the Starbreeze did the first Darkness game, right?
one. Yeah.
Which Starbreeze are you talking about? Because then they all get split up, and now we have a Starbreeze that aren't actually the original Starbreeze, and they're now making other games.
This is the original Starbreeze, isn't it?
But didn't all the guys go somewhere else, and they're making a different game now?
Are you sure this is Starbreeze or the new company?
I think it's Starbreeze. I'm pretty sure
I'm pretty
it's
sure
Starbreeze.
it's Starbreeze.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
think it is.
They've still got some people, I think. I mean, studios, they might have lost some people, but...
Some of them did splinter off to make a different...
I think so.
Yes.
I think this.
Anyway,
is,
that's
still
neither here
called
nor there.
Starbreeze.
But it's kind of this Nordic fantasy troll stuff, because trolls and things are, big part of that.
Big part of Nordic culture.
Whether they you just wander past them down the street.
Wake
All
up,
right, mate. Yeah, I'm good.
All right, how you
have
doing?
some fish and eggs for breakfast, and then they get attacked by trolls.
But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. I don't, whether it's as good as some of the reviews are saying, I don't know yet.
Yeah, no, I get the impression because I think this morning when Chris was talking about it with you, I got the impression that it's because it's quite short.
Yeah.
Stuff happens and the game changes.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're at the bit where something's about to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know
love
what it
it.
is.
Yeah.
I'm so excited though because we were
Yeah, I bet I love this.
You know what? Like, it's a lot of people are down on this sort of thing, but actually now I'm well up for this.
This is my favourite kind of
I
game.
either want my game to be something so deep and intricate
Yep.
that it blows my mind, or something that's really light narrative based that I can get done in 3 hours.
Yeah, there's almost, I'm going to say this word, almost a little bit pretentious. I can't like her pretense nowadays. I wanted to try and make me cry.
I don't mind it as long as it's done well.
Of course, yeah, no, it can't be awful. As long as it's done really, but like, I literally know nothing about this game other than that it exists. So this is just my opinion. But if the dad died or something and it was done in a beautiful way, I just feel like I love it. I love it. I love stuff like that.
The idea if somebody says you've got to play this game, it's got an incredible story, and I say how long is it? If they say it's more than 20 hours, probably never going to happen.
No, but you say 3, I'd probably play that evening.
Yeah, I'll play that evening.
Totally
The
agree.
thing is that there's no dialogue, but a lot of it is about the interactions.
Oh, this is
so
brilliant.
you'll meet other characters in the world, and each brother will do different things when you go up and interact with them, and it's about discovering that.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's
This sounds
really
awesome.
nice.
When's
It's
it
really
out?
nice. It's out today.
Brilliant. I'm going to buy it on the PC. I'm going to buy it on the personal
Is it
computer.
on XBLA?
XBLA, PSN, and PC. Yeah.
Oh, buy this. How much is it? 800 points?
800 points.
Too much to still buy
Is
it.
it only 800?
I think it could be
It seems
1,200.
cheap,
Could be
800.
Oh,
1,200.
no,
I
not
thought-
12.
I don't know for sure.
I
But
thought it was
800
8,
seems
but it
quite
could be
cheap.
12.
I still buy it.
Not sure.
I'm not. Honestly, this is a terrible thing to say, given everything I've just said. But I'm still. This is mostly because my PS3 broke before I'd say this. Paul goes,
Yep.
"Wah."
You
I
haven't
haven't played
played
Journey
I
yet.
haven't played Journey either.
But-
you know why? It's too high a price. Too expensive.
Is it?
Yep.
I've got it somewhere.
It's like 12 quid.
I know, but it's so good.
Yeah, but it's like, how long is it?
4 hours?
It's
12
a lot
quid
for
for 4
20.
hours.
There's
It's
a lot.
really good.
Yeah, I do agree.
I know, but this is what I
I
mean.
still
is
wanna play it.
I know it's really good, and I probably will buy it for that price. But I still think they priced it wrongly because I think
I agree,
I'm not
actually.
alone
I
with
think
that.
it's been on sale quite a lot.
Well, I've missed it. And to be honest, I don't switch my PS3 on that often. It's the sort of thing where, like, with Flower, which I loved, because I am
There was a
essentially
pack,
a massive
pack
ponce.
with like all their games together.
And a
in
massive
one.
flower.
I am a massive Flower. I'm a daisy.
It's much better than Flower.
Well, no, but that's the thing is I like Flower because Flower was about 4 or 5 quid, which is like that's my sweet spot.
Yeah, I totally agree.
5 quid.
With games like that.
Bosh.
Because I always forget the name of this, Linger in Shadows.
Yeah, that wasn't even a that was
That
not-
was
And I
rubbish,
spent
wasn't
so
it?
much money on that, and I played for 10 minutes. I always cried. I don't understand. I still don't understand. If somebody wants to get in touch with me, let me know what the hell Linger in Shadows is all about. I'd massively appreciate
That's
it.
not even a.
But since then, I am now a bit weary with these games like that. We go, how much money am I
Yeah.
going to put down on this? Because if I get some weird experience where I'm at some kind of mountain and I literally
I think it was
cannot
bad.
progress.
I think it was just
I
playing
think it
bad
possibly
business
is a
sense.
bit more too expensive, but you could definitely do more than
Yeah, but
once.
Journey only, despite the critical acclaim of Journey, they only started making a profit. What was it, like 4 months ago? I remember there was a thing where they just went, "Oh, I'm making a profit now." It's like, dude, your games have been out for so long, and I think it was the price because it was such critical acclaim. But then if someone like me, I love Ponzi games, I love arty games, I love short games, I'm not buying it. Then there's something wrong. It's all very well being like, "Oh, but this is a wonderful experience. It's worth this amount of money." Sorry, you got to deal with the current.
You've got to deal with
economies,
marketing as
you
well.
know?
The thing, I mean, I probably would, because my PS3 did break, I probably would spend £12 on it, but I'd probably be a little bit grudgingly doing it. Whereas if it was even 8 quid or below, I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah,
straight
precisely.
away.
You've got to get the price point right.
I agree.
It's a competitive market, and it's not about devaluing games. And a lot of people just go, "Well, I can buy something on my phone for 69p, so why should I spend more than that on anything?" It's like, well, you're an idiot because mobile phone games are consistently shite.
Get out of the podcast room.
I can't really take part in this conversation because I spent 25 quid on Skylanders last weekend.
But you like Skylanders, Dave, so it's fine.
Matt's shaking his head.
But if you
What
like
are you
it, just
doing?
do it.
Well, you know,
Everyone else is doing it. Look, whether you do it or not, everyone else is doing it. So
Yeah,
you may as well join in.
You're not like in the minority here, Dave. You're not going to
that's
get
true.
sectioned for this.
I am at my age group, though.
Well,
I'm in
and
the
I
minority.
don't think you are, to be
Really?
honest. I think it's in the I think Skylanders is now in
It's
the Lego
Lego, yeah, I
zone
totally agree.
of being like dads
Is it?
buying it.
I know a lot of older people that do it.
I'm not sure it's quite Lego Zone yet.
It's
but
not
maybe.
there, but it's on its way.
I can imagine Disney being. I
Look,
think
we
the-
all buy
the familiar
weird things
characters
with money.
But
You buy Skylanders, I buy, powder that comes
Protein.
from a cow.
I buy Twixes
So-
and Magnums,
Yeah,
so we've all
you
got
know.
our hobbies. Admittedly, mine is the least expensive of those. Anyway, Tom, you played anything new recently?
I played some iOS stuff. I've been playing the stuff that I get for free because I'm really cheap. But iOS is you can get loads of stuff for free on iOS.
Yeah, I
It's
love
good
iOS.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been playing something called Chopper Mike.
I'm excited already. Is it about bikes?
No, it's about a helicopter
Okay,
Okay,
pilot.
that's
Really
good. That was my
Mike.
second guess.
No.
And
Does it have a face? Does the helicopter have a
it's
face?
like a little, almost like a podcopter, and there's a
Right.
little guy sat in it piloting it.
It's Mike. That's Mike. And
He's called Mike, I
Yeah,
assume.
right.
And it's kind of cross between those old. Is it like the games where you just literally go across the screen? You have to hold it to go up. And
Oh,
let
yeah.
Go to
Oh,
go
so you
down.
control like the
Is it like
gravity of it?
Jetpack Joyride?
It's
Because that's
similar,
probably
but
my
it's-
favourite
but
mobile
it's
game
3D,
ever.
and you have to basically. It's very basic looking. You fly around these little environments, pick up like diamonds or something, and then you have to land at the end. And it's super simple.
This sounds incredible.
But it's kind of it just works quite well on a mobile. Like
Yeah.
it's very simple. It's just it's more complicated than some games because you do control in a 3D space, but it's literally just a control stick and then up and down kind of stuff. And it's just one of those easy.
And it's called Chopper Mike.
Chopper Mike, and
Yeah.
then you get upgrades like eventually you get like a UFO instead of a helicopter and stuff. And,
It's a big upgrade.
That's what I liked about Jetpack Joyride, actually. Just the way that the upgrades and stuff were quite fun, and you end up getting some really silly stuff. Also, the music was just amazing. I sung so many hours into that.
I've never played Jetpack Joyride.
It's brilliant. It's really
what's
good.
it? It's iOS, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's really
It's not
good. And what I
everything,
love
pretty
about
much.
it is it's just like the art style's beautiful, the music's beautiful.
free.
It's so simple.
now.
It's free now, is it? That doesn't surprise me.
I'll
Because they
get
sold
it
a lot
back
of
to my
copies.
desk.
What I liked about it actually was the way it did the microtransaction thing in a way which I respected. If you can, if you want, buy yourself coins to unlock stuff. But there was one which was like a couple of quid, and it was like, or maybe a quid, I can't remember, where it just went, you get twice as many coins. So basically, it was like, I bought that, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you can have that.
Now you got enough
Because then it
to-
meant I'm not
yeah.
going to buy anything to make the game easier. It just means I'm going to unlock the stuff at a rate which is
Like a game.
more like a game.
Yeah.
And you know what? I kind of thought, especially because I played it for like 60p or whatever, and played it for about 8 hours within a day, and was like, this is amazing. I love this game. Have some of my money.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing, isn't it? When you over with quality.
That's how free-to-play
rather than
should work,
pushing you into a
unfortunately.
corner and saying, right, bitch, now give me some money.
But the whole system's screwed because stuff like real racing is shite, and it makes more money than God.
Yeah, while we're talking about that, can you please just give us a really quick summary of Ridge Racer I Want Your Money game?
Ridge Racer Driftopia.
Yeah, what was the Driftopia?
It's the biggest piece of shit I've ever played in my life.
But why? What does it do? Because I remember I read your thing and I was shocked. I've never heard of
It's
a free-to-play.
It's free to get play. I'm fucking mental. I hate free to play. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to the industry, besides the pros jumping on Kickstarter. But it's just the whole structure just winds me up. Just
But didn't
thinking
you
about
say
it.
you can actually get it cheaper?
So
by,
here we go. So what were you going to say?
Didn't you say you can get it cheaper? There's a way to actually have it cheaper and not do the whole free-to-play stuff. Is
Yeah,
that
by
right?
buying Ridge Racer Unbounded for like £3, which is that game, but with all the free-to-play stuff unlocked from the get-go. Oh, it's bollocks. So they give you 2 cars to start with and 50 repair points, right? It's free to download, obviously, free-to-play game. Now, the point of Unbounded was they introduced all of this crashing stuff. It was a
Yeah.
big focus of the game. They tried to make it a bit
Like
burnout.
Burnout, yeah.
So there's obviously hazards in the environment where you crash and all that stuff, and you crash quite often. Every time you crash in Driftopia, they charge you 10 repair points for the initial cars.
It's incredible.
So you're allowed 5 free repairs, essentially, when you start the game. Repair points, I think they're awarded to you over different days that you play it, but
Yeah.
I haven't received any
So that means
yet.
you just damage your car and you can't drive it.
Exactly.
Or-
How good is this? How good is this?
Or you have to buy repair points for real money, right? If you run out of repair points and you don't buy any more at that time, they take the car away from you. You've lost it.
It's amazing.
It gets better. Wait for it.
amazing.
The other thing is, you're only allowed 2 cars at one point. Now, each car levels up as you use it. Then you unlock new abilities for that car. It's kind of like a traditional XP system. So you don't want to lose them, right? So it'd be nice to have multiple cars just to fall back on. Anyway, no, you're only allowed 2 unless you buy more garage slots. Now, garage slots...
It's the greatest game ever made.
10 garage slots cost 20 quid.
What?
To fill those garage slots, you have to buy more cars. If you damage those cars and don't reimburse your repair points, they get taken off of you.
Wow.
And it's the biggest pile of shit ever. Namco should be ashamed
Is this
of
the
themselves.
beta still? Is this the final
It
thing?
is the beta, but...
So technically
everything might change.
But right now, if we're discussing it as a beta product, that's incredible. That is like you're drinking some squash right now, Dave.
Yeah.
That is like me charging you for that squash, and halfway through, go, no more squash for you.
Oh,
Take it away.
You've emptied that glass. I'll take the glass off you. You'll have to buy a new one next time.
I mean, the issue of digital ownership is a fuzzy one, to say the
But that's
least.
terrible.
But that's taking the piss.
And most of the time, I just kind of turned a blind to free-to-play, but
the
that's
thing
insulting.
Is, obviously, you want to buy a better car. The better cars are more expensive, but they also cost more repair points to repair.
It is weird. It's weird. It's like
it's unbelievable.
A game built around crashing almost. Like it's like saying Burnout.
Yeah.
But every time you hit another car, it damages you. So you have to pay for
But then,
repairs.
with real racing, you look at the when you actually find out how that works. You kind of go, "That's insane. Nobody's going to put up with it."
But
doesn't it make $1 million a day?
It's insane. People throw money at it. But you know what? I think the only answer with this stuff is one of the side effects of games becoming a mass media now.
Yeah.
Is it means that a lot of people, the most money is always going to come from absolute idiots. And it's like Adam Sandler movies. Adam Sandler movies. There's a film called...
After a certain point, because some of his movies were good. Can I say that? Is that right? Everyone
Yeah,
stopped talking.
Absolutely, no, Adam,
okay.
no.
Oh no! I entered territory I don't want to be in.
This is the thing about Adam Sandler, right? He used to make great movies.
Okay,
He's
cool,
made a couple of
great.
awesome ones.
Yes.
But now, there was a film
terrible.
he made a couple of years ago called Jack and Jill.
Awful.
And
Yes.
there's an entire podcast devoted to this. No, not a podcast. It's the Red Letter Media guys,
Yeah.
where they go through this film and explain it. It is so close to being fraud in terms of the fact that he got paid like 80 million or something ridiculous for the film. And the film must have been shot on 50k, 100k. It's the cheapest, shittest movie you've ever seen, full of product placement. And yet it made a ton of money in the box office and people love it. So it's almost like with
That
the games
is
industry, we're
terrible.
getting to the point where we have the Adam Sandler games.
Jack and Jill the game.
Where we just have to ignore it and it's depressing. But
Yeah,
it's
and
just
focus
like-
on the good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
It's
right.
like the good stuff is still going to make money.
Yeah.
It's just all the money is going to go straight from
Adam
the pockets
Sandler's going
of
to turn up every now and then.
absolute fuckwits.
Yeah.
But screw it. If you want to race around digital cars that cost £50, then you're a fucking idiot.
Is that how much it costs?
No, some of them do. Yeah, I think so. With real racing.
£50?
Real racing's
Oh, real
really, really extreme. But I'm not sure it's as bad as some of the stuff.
No, I mean, they're maybe not £50, but
Yours does,
some of
but-
the stuff is very expensive.
Eye-openingly expensive.
Yeah, it's like, what?
It's just the constant spend money. I hate it. Spend money, spend money, spend money. And
That's
Ridge
why I
Racer
didn't
does
like.
it so bad.
That's why I didn't like Skylanders. It was just like, hey, here's a toy you haven't got.
Yeah.
Here's an advert for it. And it's
You
like-
want it,
It's like
man.
you just won a special move for a toy you haven't got.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want to watch an advert for that toy? Here it is. It's genius, but it's
Don't even get to
dark.
answer.
Yeah, no, you do get to choose. But
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Mate, you've been-
humbug,
do you know
etc.
what? You said you've been playing loads of games.
I mean, playing loads of stuff. I'll run through his stuff really quickly,
Okay.
actually. I finally, obviously, we finished Dark Souls Pants Man a couple of weeks ago. It's
Amazing.
exciting. I took my clothes off. I'm not even joking.
Wonderful.
Dark Souls
Literally
Pants
took his
Man.
clothes off.
Dark Souls 2 Pants Man will, of course, return in March. In the meantime, we are thinking of what we're going to do next. We'll talk about that soon. But, excitingly, I did actually finally get to play Dark Souls 2. The good news is, it's pretty good. It's slightly different in lots of ways. I'm not going to talk about this here because I actually made a video which will be up on the site as well, hopefully. It will be up by the time you read this. It should be on the main page, but also it's on YouTube. And it's essentially a 20-minute... It might as well be a podcast of me just explaining all the stuff that's changed and interesting things about the game. So if you are a Dark Souls nut, just go and watch that.
As like a broad thing, do you think they're making the right choices?
I think they're making some
Yeah.
interesting choices. I can't tell if they're right or not.
Interesting.
I don't
Okay.
think they're bad. I think it's just... I'm kind of relieved to see that they are changing some things.
Yeah.
And a lot of elements is becoming closer to the original sort of precursor, Demon Souls.
Right, yeah.
I don't think it's a step backwards. It's just an interesting change. And I'm interested to see where they're going with it, with the whole... It's very difficult to make any judgments about it without seeing the whole picture.
Of course, yeah.
But I must say, I am pleased to see the fact that A, it's not easy, and B, they haven't just copy and pasted the stuff from Dark Souls, because I think there is a tendency, as we saw with Crackdown 2, when you pass over a game to either a new studio or a new lead, there is a tendency for people to be like, oh God, this is so popular, just don't change anything.
They quite easily could have done that, I guess.
And if it did play and feel exactly like Dark Souls, I think a lot of fans would have been initially sated, initially relieved, but the end game might have felt somehow weaker for him.
Fair enough.
But we'll see. And another game I've been playing, obviously I played a lot of Shadowrun Returns, which I kind of agree with
A lot
Brad.
of people it's that weird thing where people really, really like it, but also accept that it has massive problems.
I think it's something that's just a Kickstarter problem, really. I think it's not just restricted to video games. I've been playing quite a few Kickstarter board games with some of my mates recently.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of Kickstarter board games, and they have the similar problems in the fact they're very ambitious with their ideas, have some really cool stuff, but sometimes just a bit shonky and a little bit rough around the edges.
There was a whole thing recently with that board game that they made like 150,000 or something, and
it went bust.
They just cancelled it all or something.
Yeah, well, there's the same problems as you have with games, but the Kickstarter thing is interesting because I think that Shadowrun Returns is, if this was just a game straight up, I think it would have been judged a bit more harshly, but because it comes with it the tools to make your own little adventures, it's a really nice touch. And I know I'm kind of glad I've got it now because it's one of those things where I'm still playing the campaign, I'm enjoying it, the writing is great, it's fun.
Everyone says that,
The combat, it's a bit of a shame that actually the stuff which you can't alter, i.e. the framework of the game and the combat, is just slightly not as good as it could have been. Otherwise, it could have been a bit of a classic.
Yeah.
But I'm still excited to see that I reckon in about a year from now, there'll be suddenly from nowhere a modder will come up with this incredible campaign and it will be amazing.
I think I want to play it. I never said that about games like that. I'm kind of intrigued by it.
Well, if you like the idea of cyberpunk fantasy with orcs and elves and magic, then it's just like games like that don't get made anymore.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like games like that.
And, haven't been getting made for a long time.
Yeah.
As when Shadowrun returned originally, it was a bloody online-only Xbox.
This is why I'm the problem, though. That wasn't a good
Nonsense.
game, but I kind of enjoyed it. I think I just enjoyed the novelty of it.
I
It's
just
very
felt
early on, wasn't
it just felt like that was the only way they could bring the IP back.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
it just got
And it was
crippled by
rubbish.
But yeah, I think the Kickstarter thing is interesting, and I think that it's funny because there's a lot of talk about Kickstarter fatigue, but I think it's just in the media because I think that we're tired of talking about Kickstarter stuff sometimes.
Too many people talk about it, but it still
But
works.
at the same time, like the amount of money being spent on Kickstarter games is just increasing. So there's been bad stories about it, but year on year, it's growing, and I think it does have its problems, but also when you get stuff like this and stuff like FTL and all these little games that I love that would have
It's
struggled
hard
to
to
find
hate
funding,
it, isn't it? Yeah, of course.
I'm down with it.
I want to see what Tim Schafer's going to do. If Tim Schafer can get this project sorted out and I love it, then I'll be on board.
Yeah, they really dig that. Don't they? I mean, it's just it's
difficult.
dodgy.
It's difficult.
And there are a lot of. I think it's interesting, especially with the whole the guy from Silicon Knights and that whole Dennis Dyack. I think that whole thing is very fuzzy. And
Yeah, because I want that game to be made, bizarrely, because I like... He said, "Forgetting the Eternal Darkness." There we go. Thanks, Brain.
yeah, but I mean, when you read, because there was that massive piece on Kotaku about the background.
Yeah, I know, it didn't sound...
It sounded so dodgy.
Yeah.
And I think actually what's going to be interesting about Kickstarter in the next few years is we'll start to find out more about what developers are like, because it feels like instances like this where classic devs are standing up and going, I'll make this game. It feels like a lot of people feel they have an ethical responsibility to kind of go, guys, I know you think that guy is really good, but actually... he's kind of been ruining games for about 15 years.
Well, that's the thing with the Tim Schafer thing as well. And I love Tim Schafer.
Yeah, but
he's
I
one
wonder.
of my favourite. But I wonder if stuff like, if there were so many problems with games like Brutal Legends and Psychonauts and things like that, is because Tim Schafer maybe he's a bit difficult to work with. I mean, I don't know.
And I've heard that many times about Ron Gilbert, the
Yeah,
classic
no, I've
creator
heard
of
that
Monkey
too,
Island. I've heard that he is trouble, and I've heard that he wrecks projects, which may be why that even when he went back to work with his old buddy Tim Schafer, he left again.
Yeah. Who knows?
So who knows? I think it's interesting, and I think it's cool that it's opening up the industry in some ways. The other games I've been playing recently, I've been playing so many. Obviously, we played a little bit of Saints Row 4.
Oh yeah, we should have talked about that. Really,
We can talk about it now.
it's brilliant.
You go for it. You might as well explain.
Well,
You saw me doing bits of it.
Well, I say when there's a video going up, maybe today, maybe sometime this week. I don't know when it's going to go up, but
whenever,
soonish. And I never been the biggest Saints Row fan. Saints Row 3 made me laugh a lot watching other people play it. Saints Row 2 and 1 were not my cup of tea at all. But I mean, the opening half an hour of Saints Row 4 is just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's tongue-in-cheek. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which all games do nowadays. It knows exactly what it wants to be, and it's not scared to try new things.
It's incredibly
That's
dumb.
fantastic.
But what I liked about it was it wasn't too self-referential.
Yeah.
Because in the start of Saints Row 3, it's like, hey, all these characters chatting to each other, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I've never played
You're
a
the
Saints Row
Saints.
game.
Yeah.
And because they're such big games, the idea of being like, oh, go back and play 2 first, it's like, fuck
No
off.
way, yeah. That was a
That'll
bad
take 30
game as well,
hours.
yeah.
So it seems more focused on fun. But actually, yeah, again, this is one that we go into quite a lot of detail in the video.
Yeah, probably. Watch the
So
video for
definitely,
more.
if you're interested,
But
watch it.
For someone that maybe not sold on it, like honestly, if you just want to have a laugh with a game, it requires no previous knowledge. It's just the jokes are so open and accessible, but also quite niche and funny at the same time.
I'm looking forward to it a lot. I'm quite disappointed that people think they view it as an expansion pack.
Definitely not. Well, I don't think so. The only thing I'd love to have, does it have co-op? It doesn't have co-op, does it?
It does have online
it
co-op.
does,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I can run around the city with somebody else and just, oh, well, then that's it. I'm sold. I'm in. Me and me, Dave. We're
Yep.
doing it.
I said this in the video, but the one thing I will say about this game that I really like is it feels like the way they've designed this is the way that all games should be designed. They haven't started off with a theme and a setting and stuff. They started off and gone, what do we want in our game?
Yeah.
And they've decided the elements that they want to be in it. And then they've created a theme that fits it. And the theme is basically you're in a virtual city that's been imagined and controlled by a 1980s style alien overlord. And it basically means they can do whatever they want. So you've got Crackdown. You're a superhero, you collect orbs. So they've just gone, hey, you know the orb collecting thing from Crackdown? Let's just put it in.
It's amazing and that no one else has ever done for no reason.
And there's so many
Why
things
would you
from
not
other
do it?
games where they've literally just gone, we want this in. And it's all tied under the incredibly loose but knowingly so premise that, well, it's a virtual world.
And it's aliens.
And we can. So literally, it's like they've created a setup where they can just go, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of time for that.
I do. I just love the fact they don't feel sort of that you have. It don't have to be sort of fit into a certain box.
Yeah, but
It's
there's
just that we
loads
just
of
have fun.
A
I
lot
love
of
that.
A lot of people have already just done the kind of. A lot of websites have done the lazy thing. Have gone, here's the first 10 minutes of the game. We've played past that, and we've got to the point where we're actually in the open world city. So if you want to see what the actual game's like,
Yeah, and you want to experience that first half hour.
Yeah, you want to
on
experience
your
that for
own
yourself.
back. Don't ruin it for yourself.
because
Don't
if you're
watch
interested in the
it,
game,
like-
it's really funny.
It's genuinely funny.
Yeah, I
it's
loved
stuff
it.
that games don't do. So fair play, Volition. Well done.
I say finally, the other game I have been playing a lot this week is one that it's funny, right? This game, I feel like I need to defend myself with this a little bit because it's just such a weird game.
Let's Shoot
And-
Larry.
No. It's called Divinity Dragon Commander. Now, originally,
This is the one that you draw on paint.
This is the one I drew in
Okay.
MS Paint, right? Because I got an email about it being Divinity Dragon Commander, and I thought that's a ridiculous name, but it has the word dragon in it. I'll have a look.
And Commander.
Load it up on the computer, and I thought, God, this is a bit fiddly and a bit weird. And then I jumped into it, and it kept crashing. So I was going to make a video about it, but I thought, well, sod it. I'll draw loads of pictures in dragons and MS Paint, and that'll be my preview.
was good.
But then loads of people said, oh, this is funny, but actually, I'm kind of interested to see what the game's like. Will you make another video
That doesn't require
that
you
actually
showing it
shows us what the
paint.
game is? And I was like, fuck you, guys.
Done it.
You think I am a games journalist? No, so I went back and I did that. But then I got intrigued, and I kind of enjoyed it and thought, this is actually quite cool. And then one of the devs said, I like that, but you should look at the campaign because there's actually loads of stuff in the campaign that might surprise you. And I was like, all right. Anyway, long story short, this game's really interesting. Like, really interesting, right? Because get this, right?
Do you command dragons?
No,
Oh, right.
better
What?
than that, right?
I don't-
Strange,
strange, yeah.
better than that,
Right.
right? This is, you have to bear with me, right? It's like this, the main game is played on almost like Risk style map where you move around units, and it's like a board game basically
Right.
of moving different types of units around, building structures that give you bonuses over time, and basically taking control of a Risk style map. But on top of that, you're also in an airship, which is like in StarCraft 2, where you've got all the characters on the airship and you can go to different areas and buy upgrades that are persistent upgrades to your army and your character that give you stuff, and you also have conversations. But then also, you've got your military advisors who you can send in to do battles for you, but you've also got your counselors, your political advisors, and you have political advisors from 5 different races, like elves, dwarves, gnomes, the undead. But they all kind of mimic different liberal stances that mimic the real world. And these councillors, you have to make decisions on stuff. So already within the first hour of the game, I've had to make a decision on whether or not I want conscription. I've been like, do I want to conscript soldiers? Whether or not I think women and men should be paid the same. Whether or not I think that people who've been injured in the workplace or in war should be looked after by the state. And it's like, you have to make all these decisions. And also, the world I felt bad about is I kind of wasn't sure what to do, but they said, we've got a big problem with immigration because of war. Should we deport any foreign criminals? And I was like, well, sounds like it's a good idea, doesn't it?
Are you replicating real life here, mate?
But then
Did you drive around in a big truck with a megaphone going, who's foreigner? Get out.
But I felt bad because then I realised, obviously, that I did that thinking, well, it sounds like a good idea. But then I realised, obviously, that just meant that people were more quick to demonise and point the blame at foreigners to get them out.
So it's
And
almost like a political simulator.
yeah, so basically you've got political simulator, but it's the thing of like the undead are super like like right wing, and then the elves are super left wing.
How does it influence things, your decisions?
Well, but it's like the different parties give you kind of different bonuses, and so it means because I favoured the dwarfs a bit, they make loads of money. So I've got given cards which I use in the kind of board game bit of being like, well, this gives you more money on this gold mine. So basically, the main part of the game, the strategy, is a turn-based. Essentially, it is a board game with cards and stuff. So the bonuses you get, but then even stuff like when I chose that women should get paid the same amount of men, my female commanders now cost the same amount to deploy in battle as the men do. But then because I did conscription, all of my units are slightly cheaper, but I get less. It's like
This is mad.
The decisions you make actually do have like a tangible effect on that will span out for the rest of the game.
Do you still burn people with dragons?
But this is the kicker. Right?
Every now and then, dragon just come. Rah,
this is the kicker.
Immigration.
When you actually get right, your character on this airship that is run by, it's like controlled by a demon or something.
Of course it is.
You are a dragon. Your character is half man, half dragon, which means you are the dragon commander.
Oh, I see.
And it means when you go into...
This is insane.
It's mental. When you go into battles, right, you and it's like really, this is the shonky bit of the game, right? But when you have these battles on the board game, if you're definitely going to win, if it's like your army outmasses them, you just go auto battle, done. Send in one of your generals, they do it. But if it's a battle where it's like, oh, we might lose this one, or you're heavily outnumbered, you will go in yourself and you'll play this really simple kind of RTS game where you build units and build bases and hold positions. And this bit's like, it looks quite pretty, but it's quite basic.
Yeah.
But you're a dragon. And it means that you're doing an RTS thing and you're moving around the camera like
Do you look like a dragon?
Yeah, you're actually a dragon.
So you can transform pretty much.
Not only you're a dragon with a jetpack. So
What?
The last thing a dragon needs flames and fire.
You say
Here's
that.
some more flames and fire.
You say that, but honestly, it's impressive because what happens is you basically, at any point, you just press R on the keyboard, and wherever your camera is then in the RTS thing, so you're just looking over a battle, as long as you're close to units, suddenly a dragon just spawns in front of where the camera is, and you use the keyboard controls just to fly it round, and you use like 1 to 5 on the keyboard to cast spells, and then you press spacebar to activate a jetpack, and you can fly across the whole of the map on these giant maps in like a second. You literally just go... But it ends up being this thing of you can't build units when you're in dragon form. So you build a big army, but you can like use the keyboard shortcuts to select units nearby and point where you want them to go. So you have this thing of being like, you fly over and it's really wonky and not amazing, but it's the way you can literally just have an army beneath you and select them all and then go over there and then cast a buff which makes them all like move really quickly. And then you can be firing healing beams at them, firing fireballs at the enemies, but then you can realise that you've got a battle on the other side of the map, jetpack over in a second, and immediately you literally just go like a Power Ranger, and then you're like, and it's like, it's one of these things where it's like the actual RTS element of the game is probably one of the weakest elements in a way.
Yeah.
But just because this sensation of being not only a dragon setting fire to everything, but also like a dragon who's like, follow me into battle. It's one of these games where it's just like, it's actually really...
I'm not going to lie, that's
really
the most interesting
fun.
game we've chatted about on this podcast, maybe ever.
This is the thing, and this is the thing, is like a lot of people have said to me, are you going to make a video about the campaign as well? And I'm like, yeah, I probably am. I'm probably going to review it.
I would like to see this video, please. That's very important.
It's just the level of depth. I can't wait to see how far it goes with it. With a persistent
fair play.
campaign.
That is an interesting idea.
It's one of these things where it's just so ambitious, and it looks like they might not have completely cocked it up. So it's one of those games that not a lot of people seem interested in because it does look like the sort of trash that appears in our inbox every day.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's actually, it's kind of ropey, but if you like
Diamond
games...
in the rough.
My God, it's a game.
There you go.
Right, are you the only dragon?
No. There are
other dragons have jetpacks.
Yeah. There are other dragons that you have to fight, and I haven't met them yet, but other commanders have dragons, and also apparently in some battles you must do, because one of the spells you can upgrade for your dragon allows you to... like heal ally dragons. So I think you can have battles where you're with other dragons, and it's just, it sounds a bit mental. And I like the way that these persistent upgrades, you can choose to either upgrade your army units, or you can choose to run research points on getting better dragon skills, and you can chat to people on the ship, and it's just generally, it's like,
I'm impressed.
this is all right.
There you go.
I'm not making friends with the elves though, because they're quite humanitarian. And apparently, I'm a warrior dragon. I'm being a bit of a bastard, but
Well, it happens. It happens.
it does happen.
I'm also not convinced this game wasn't made while people were on acid.
I
But
don't
either
know.
way, I'm very intrigued. I'm very
I
impressed.
think the guys who used to make Divinity, which was really in-depth
Okay,
RPGs.
so they know what they're doing, right? Okay.
So they know what they're doing, but it's amazing it ever got made, because it is the sort of thing where I imagine I was actually talking to somebody last night who said they interviewed a dev when they were really early stages of it, and they were talking about all the stuff they wanted to do in the game, and they were he was sort of nodding, going, "This is not going to happen," but it looks like it has. Apparently, there's a bit we have to decide how you feel about gay marriage. So,
gay marriage
in a game about flying a jetpack dragon around, that's ambitious. But anyway,
what about gay dragon marriage?
Gay dragon marriage. Wow, that could come up. That could because apparently there's love interest in it. Apparently you can get romantically involved because you're going to be the emperor as well.
Okay.
Of course, you're the dragon commander.
Don't marry those elves.
It'd be like Sonic 2006, wouldn't it?
Oh, bestiality.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about dragons for now. Sadly. We will jump into some questions now. Have we got any major news points to discuss? It's a bit of a quiet one.
I think really, last week we revealed the first ever footage of the VideoGamer logo.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
It's the game we're making.
Yeah. No, it's Horde of the Orient, which is Team Bondi's next game. Maybe cancelled, maybe not, who knows. So yeah, if you want to take a look at that, it looks a bit like Sleeping Dogs and LA Noire.
That's the thing. I know a few people have asked what we actually thought about it, and I don't think it looks particularly good, but I also am not entirely not intrigued by it, which is an awfully worded sentence. But I liked LA Noire a lot, and I had problems, but I forgave them. I liked it a lot. But how much did Rockstar have in making sure that was polished and nice and good? You know, Rockstar are not silly people. They know what they're doing, and they wouldn't have taken that game on if they didn't know what the problems were. And this Horde of the Orient looks like a game that did not have those people.
Well, it's clearly troubled, isn't it? Like the Australian government had to fund it just to keep it going by the sound of it for a little bit. Whether it's found a new publisher now, we don't know. But yeah, if you want to take a look, there's 60 seconds worth of footage on the site.
And you'll definitely know where it's from. Don't worry, you may be thinking, where's this video from? You'll know.
Maybe I'll visit that site another time.
Yeah, maybe I'll come back. But no, I thought it was interesting. I don't think we'll ever see it, is my gut feeling. But it looked...
I wasn't sure we'd ever see it in the first place.
Well, no, I
wasn't. It was a game called Horde of the Orient.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be called that, I don't think. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of divided people. I like the setting more than actually the kind of what I saw. I thought the setting was cool. But I mean, how much do we see of that? Really not a lot. So yeah. Horde of the Orient.
Horde of the Orient. Well, let's jump ahead to some questions because we've got quite a few this week, I think. Some questions from the forum, first of all.
Forum people.
Question from PB Live. After that rather embarrassing, I don't think it was embarrassing, and quite brilliant spin the bottle video, what other games would make you feel embarrassed if you were caught playing them?
What was that game that was released a couple of years ago on the Wii? It's basically a sex game. I was embarrassed about playing that. Do you remember that? It was like Naughty but Nice
Dare,
or something.
was it called?
Yeah, and it was literally...
We Dare, I think it was called.
It was not exactly kosher mini-games.
It was
bollocks.
bollocks.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was bollocks as well. That game, the Sega game as well, that came out really early on DS.
I'll tell you
about
what,
courting women. That'd be a bit weird if you got caught playing that.
My mum walked in on me playing Singles Float Up Your Life once.
What's that?
Singles Float Up Your Life? It's The Sims.
But with more sex.
But with sex. And Playboy the Mansion as well. That's a bit much as well. But,
Jesus, Dave. What about you, Tom?
Skylanders.
Skylanders.
No, brilliant game.
Good. No, I'd be embarrassed by
I'm
that.
trying to think, because sometimes you'll watch a movie and you shouldn't be watching it, but you feel a bit guilty and you turn it off. I can't think of a game I actually play.
No, I don't play games like that anymore.
No, I don't.
Really.
I don't think I've ever played a game like that. I don't think so.
I mean, my levels of embarrassment have shifted now that I'm obviously an adult. So it's less like kind of weird, teeny smart, and more just like my girlfriend coming around and going, "Oh, you're playing another game with dragons in it, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah."
About gay marriage. Yes.
Mine's like, "Oh, you're playing Megamind, are you?" Yeah.
That's not embarrassing, is it? It's just
Megamind is very embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. Yeah, it's a very, very bad game.
getting caught playing Babe Station's quite a bad game.
Yeah, no, precisely.
Yeah.
I must admit, obviously, there's been a hell of a lot of controversy around it recently, but I'd be embarrassed to be caught playing some bits of Killer is Dead, and so should anyone with half a brain, really. Selamir asks, as someone who has just got a real job and is considering getting a PS3 to catch up on old games, which exclusives would you recommend? That's really easy, right? Last of Us, Journey, even though it's too expensive.
God of War, they're good games. I enjoy them.
God of War 3,
I enjoy them.
Ni no Kuni's a bit overrated, but if you love JRPGs, you'll love it.
I love the original Infamous as well.
Never got into Infamous.
Just kick my mics now.
If you really, really like shooters, I mean, like, cannot get enough, you'll enjoy Killzone.
Resistance
but if you
3.
do, or
Uncharted.
Resistance.
All of the Uncharteds.
Oh, yeah, Uncharted 2.
yeah.
Uncharted 1 and 2. But actually, you can just jump straight to 2.
I'd say play 2. I'd say don't bother the other ones. Just play Uncharted 2 and leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that's the only games I've really ever switched my PS3 on for were Uncharted 2, The Last of Us, Flower and a couple of other little indie
Resistance
bobbins.
3. There you go. That's better.
Dave.
Oh, sorry.
Said that.
Sorry.
Tom said that. You never listened to Tom.
You're totally right. You're absolutely right.
And I really liked actually. There's one JRPG. It's hard as nails. What's it called? Valkyrie Chronicles.
Yeah.
Oh, I played that. It's really good.
Or
Really?
Get Valkyrie Chronicles.
Valkyria, isn't that
Valkyria,
right?
yeah, that's it.
Whatever it is, get that game. That's fantastic.
But that's the thing. If you like JRPGs, there's quite a lot of exclusive stuff on the PS3. That's
Didn't they have
worth
the
a
one
punt.
set inside that composer's head as well? Isn't that PS3 exclusive?
Yeah, that
Or
was
is it not?
Eternal
I thought that was-
Sonata, but that was
I thought that was
Xbox
360.
exclusive.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I thought it was the other way around.
But-
Sorry.
Yeah,
Zillia's
that's-
just come out as well. People are right.
Yeah, I'm not really
I'm
bothered
not so
about
sure
that.
about
I don't
that
know. I mean, I think it's very difficult to gauge which JRPGs are good and which aren't because nobody, apart from people who love them, play them.
Yeah, they're dead.
Feral Cow asks, when you discover a new TV show / podcast / series of games, a lot of slashes going on there, do you always start it from the very beginning?
Of course.
Yeah.
It depends.
Well, maybe not games.
Not
so
podcasts
much, but
or games, no.
TV shows, yes.
Yeah, have to do TV
It
shows.
says, if so, what has taken you the longest to catch up on?
Game of Thrones. I've only just done it. So I guess it's quite
Breaking
late.
Bad.
So-
It's taken me about 2 years to watch the first series.
It doesn't really count as being like in action.
Oh.
I don't think in action counts. I think the one for me is one I haven't done yet, which is The Sopranos, which I really want to watch.
West Wing as well. The West
But I
Wing
know
is
there's
still,
so much of it. It's like 7 seasons.
It's a lot.
But I know it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm terrified at how much time that's going to take. And somebody, I forgot, I haven't read the second part of this. I wrote having found the old VideoGamer.com podcast, the one I finished in January. And he's currently on episode 24 of 79. So you're not going to, he says, I look forward to hearing the answer to
Wow.
this
Wait,
sometime.
So he's going
next
through
year.
them all.
He's going through all the
Wow.
old ones.
Some good stuff.
There's going to be a drastic change soon.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like he doesn't actually know any of the people he's asking this question to. So he might be upset to find that people from 4 years ago aren't the ones who answer his question.
Well, good luck.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the sort of thing. Well, I think with this podcast, obviously, we try and keep it relevant. So you're
You can jump in
basically
and jump out as
you're
you
doing
see.
the wrong thing. You should just listen to the most recent one. But he won't find that out for about 8 months.
As long as he's having fun.
We got some Twitterings, of course. Francis Reyes asks, "Are you looking forward to WWE 2K14?"
Francis Reyes. I know Francis Reyes.
Yeah,
All right,
so basically
Francis.
they're asking you.
Yeah, I know him. I know him. He's a good boy. Thank you very much for the question. Am I looking forward to WWE 2K14? Yes. What was the other part of the question?
And who's your favourite wrestler?
Whatever.
My favourite wrestler is CM Punk, just because of his.
His grammar videos
His
are
grammar videos,
amazing.
it's
Good hookup,
incredible.
Matt. My favourite wrestler is Bret Hart, and I like other people as well. But I am looking forward to I will say this about WWE 2K14. This will be the last year you ever see the WWE games in the guise that you're used to. Next year, I can't guarantee, but I'm very, very confident that it will change massively.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy
I'm-
the Ukes games, and let's
Yeah.
face it, you should be bored of them by now, next year's will be very, very different.
I think they'll take it internally, won't they?
I think they'll keep Ukes on because I think they'll need people. And I think they're quite cheap. But I think it'll be very different. And it'll be better. Next year is the year, wrestling fans. Next
Okay.
gen,
Next gen.
next
So
developer,
they can
next game.
Really get all of those sweaty nips as accurate as possible.
And I love sweaty nips.
I've got you on the record with that now. Finally, I've been trying to coax you into this for ages. I'm sorry to tell you this, Simon, but I'm wearing a wire. I've been
fine.
wearing a wire the whole time.
I stand by my statement.
I'm not a games
But I
journalist.
still think this year's will be good. I think you just have to remember with the WWE games, you have to play a multiplayer and never play them in single player.
No,
Ever.
of course. Joe Mullin asks, will you be attending Gamescom? Yes, we will.
All of us.
So if you do see us there, then come up and give us a lunge. Nick Sologoob, I believe.
Great
that's the way-
name.
I think it's the way you say it. Apologies if not. What do you think Project Titan from Blizzard is going to be?
An MMO.
It's a good guess,
Yeah,
Dave.
I reckon it's going to
World
be an
of
MMO.
Warcraft 2?
No,
No.
it's not going to be that. That
Will they
would be
move away
suicide.
from Warcraft, do you think?
I don't know.
Yes, for now, I think.
Do you think?
Yes.
It's such a big brand, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Big,
but I think, I don't know.
big risk, I think. But
I
wouldn't be
have no
surprised-
idea.
I wouldn't be surprised if the next thing they do with Warcraft is Warcraft 4, just because they need to mix it up a bit.
possibly.
But I don't know what a Warcraft. It's difficult. People say, "Oh, it's on the decline," but it's like, yeah, but it's still got 7 million people playing
Yeah.
it. That's
a lot
all
of
right.
cash, yeah.
That's quite a lot of money. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I've kind of stopped caring. It became such a weird
And what was its
atmosphere and WoW.
its
towards the
peak
end.
was what, like 13 million, like 2-3 years ago?
yeah,
so
I
you've
was-
dropped like 5 million. It's not great. It is a big drop, but considering how long it's been out, it's
I played it in the first kind of, maybe not the first year, but maybe no. Actually, I got into it quite early. I played it for the first couple of years. I was big into it when it was quite new. But it has that classic that all MMOs have: is once you lose a sense of discovery in the world and how it works. But But also, it's like also the fact that you increasingly have a population of people who are the veterans, and it becomes less of you being able to go in and say, "Oh, what's this? How does this work?" And people go, "Oh God, you don't know how that
I
works."
can see them making a big push for it next year, though, isn't it? Isn't it the 10-year anniversary next year of it? So I imagine they might do something to try and get people
what
back.
can they do? I mean,
They got more
I don't
expansions
know.
planned, though, right? There's another expansion on the way. Is that
there?
true?
Well, I mean,
Or-
the grandest thing they did was when they recently they reworked. Was I say recently about 6 months ago or something? They reworked the entire of the early game, pretty much in lots of the areas. So most of the areas, if you start a new character, the way that you level from 0 to level 30 or whatever, and the places and the quests, they just redesigned it all completely, and they made it so much better. But it's still the same thing. The problem is, you can only keep repolishing the same castle again and again. It's still the same bricks. And I think that the problem with MMOs generally is once you see the strings, once you see how it works, you're just playing an Excel spreadsheet with pretty colours. And at that point, it stops being
Same with
fun.
everything. Eventually, your brain just goes, I can't take anymore. Like, I have to have a break from Bethesda games now because I played so much Oblivion and Fallout 3, and I played so much Skyrim. I just can't. That template, I need a break from it.
Yeah, well, I
Massively
think
now.
with
It's
MMOs
too much.
particularly, you're constantly chasing carrots, and after a while, you start to realise that there aren't any carrots.
You're only going to get prunes.
You can play Elder Scrolls Online. Bit
that
different.
That can jump off a boat, can't it?
Didn't EverQuest get announced last week?
Yeah, Next
I missed
Quest.
It, but it looked. Did it have?
Oh,
it
yes,
was a while I was
that's-
away, but does it have some kind of building?
Yes, it's voxel
Yeah.
based, so it's Minecrafty, and apparently it has elements of building and destruction.
All these games are like Dark Chronicle, the greatest Japanese RPG ever
Yeah,
made, and
Dark
everyone's
Chronicle,
forgotten about
man.
that. Make Dark Chronicle 3. It wouldn't be called, it'd be called Dark Cloud 3, Dark Chronicle
Dark
2.
Chronicle 2 was awesome.
It's brilliant. It's
I love
the
that.
best Japanese game, the best JRPG ever made, and no one remembers it.
It got too hard though,
Yeah, massively too hard.
but I liked it a lot.
That whole building thing where you built your town.
building
Oh, it's so
towns,
good to
man.
play again.
Those puzzles were hard.
Oh, man,
Some of
the
the
game
puzzles,
was-
it was like, wow,
The
I do
very
that?
end of that, did you finish it?
No.
The last sort of half an hour or how long it takes you is you have to refight every boss in the game on one
dick
life.
off.
It's so hard.
Honestly,
so
if
hard.
I could change one thing about Japanese games industry, I would force them to change the pacing of JRPGs
Yes,
because
completely.
their tradition,
Yes, 100%.
their tradition of being like having the first 15 hours being fun and then opening up the world and
Going,
it just
fuck
becoming
you, yeah.
a trudge.
Yeah, agreed.
It's like, you know what? We're here for the story. The story suddenly stops, and it's like you get to the end of disc 3, and now it's like, hey, you know that story you love? Well, you can't finish it until you do 20 hours of fighting optional bosses. Fuck you. Just give me the ending.
Yep.
The amount of JRPGs where I don't know how they end just because
yeah.
I couldn't be asked.
It's too hard.
It's nonsense.
But Dark Chronicle 3, please, thanks.
Dark Chronicle bloody 3.
Or whatever you call it.
But yeah, actually, I will quickly say about Elder Scrolls Online. I heard recently, I think Mitch Dyer from IGN was talking about that guy and know a little bit. He seems to know stuff. And he was saying, and this made me think, oh God, it's going to be trash. Is he said, if you're a Skyrim fan, then you'll love Elder Scrolls Online, even though it feels a bit more soulless. And to be honest, I think the Elder Scrolls games are bloody soulless to begin
But that's
with.
the biggest. I played it for half an hour, 40 minutes at E3. There's just no personality to it.
Well, I don't think
Such a
Skyrim has any
trudge.
personality. I think that's the problem. It's all just plasticine face bores.
Is
and
that
the
such a
quest
problem
designs
in,
are rubbish.
in an MMO? Like obviously something like Skyrim,
It's
it
really
needs a bit of
boring.
character, but
It's really bad.
and it fails because it doesn't have that.
Well, I think Skyrim
But-
does, but,
but
it's
for an
just how you
MMO
approach
though,
it. But I don't think that Elder Scrolls Online is boring. It's boring. Steve described it as he'd rather be dead, and he may not be too far off.
That's a hell of a preview.
Yeah.
Anyway, some more questions. We've got a few more. With Left 4 Dead 3 leaked yesterday. Leaked in
Yeah, Dave.
quote unquote.
things, 'cause it's not actually maybe. Well, actually, it kind of looks
As
like it
Dave
is.
said, Valve loves to troll.
They do, but this one looks like it could be legit.
It's the most legit leak yet.
Yeah.
So
What changes, especially with the international, obviously Dota stuff's happening this week. They've got a lot of people going around behind closed doors. It's the sort of time when stuff is going to
Could
slip up
happen,
if
yeah.
it does. Because Valve have never had this amount of people in this capacity wandering around their offices.
Yeah.
Anyway, what changes would you like to see from the zombie shooter?
aim down sights. That's what put me off Left 4 Dead.
You're kidding me. You don't need that.
I can't play a shooter if it doesn't have.
It doesn't have. They're called iron sides.
Iron sights, yeah.
What does it need? Not a lot, really. Just keep iterating on what you were doing. I still think Left 4 Dead 2 is pretty much, for what it wanted to be, perfect, if I'm honest. I think it's a fantastic game. And multiplayer is just out of this world. So just iterate it a bit more, come up with the ideas that kind of make it feel new, but just polish.
I'm going to go out here and say something that's equally idiotic to what Dave said in many regards.
God bless them iron sides.
It's just like, whatever.
It just feels inaccurate. Anyway,
Whatever. I'm going to say more zombies. Next gen, just more zombies.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we are going for iron sights and more zombies.
Yeah, and that is game design from 8-year-olds. Can we have a game with everything
Can
in
we
it
have
ever
frag
with guns,
grenades?
and you can fly into space and fly to other planets and then blow up the prostitutes on that planet, please?
I'm trying to think,
That
what
is,
didn't I like about Left 4 Dead? I mean, it's
Presumably, they
boring.
could have something like, with the way things are going, like second screen, you could have like someone controlling the director, like being.
Well, that would
the
be
one
cool,
that-
actually. I'd like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an awesome idea for iPads or PC of actually choosing where the zombies come from.
Yeah.
That would be incredible, especially if you could have, because you do that so easily of having like a vision map, because instead of having this thing of being like you can't spawn there because they can see you, which is a lovely mechanic anyway, if you're having a top-down thing where you can see the areas where you can just go bump, and suddenly zombies will start coming from there.
I would like, if we're going to go into a completely dream world, where, because I love the whole versus mode, I think it's fantastic, whereas somehow you have a game that's like 2 to 400 and 396 yeah, 395 or 96 people could play as zombies.
That
That'd be
wouldn't work.
cool.
That
It would be
wouldn't work.
amazing.
It wouldn't work. 'cause
In this
it'd be-
room, talking about it, it'd be amazing.
No. Can you imagine how little fun it would be being a normal zombie?
Exactly, just
when
walk-
you spend like a few minutes shuffling around a corner and then you get shot and you're dead immediately.
But then you come back as a tank and be like, oh, it was all worth it. It was worth those
but
12
like,
other deaths.
It's like playing the lottery. You probably play for about an hour before you get to be the tank.
But when you win the lottery, it's great. It's life-changing.
I'd be surprised, but yeah, I'm just going to smile and
dear.
nod. God, we're terrible at game design,
Yeah.
aren't we? This is why we do what we do. Finally, on this front, actually, I've got a few more, but what do you think of EverQuest next? Oh, we've already talked about that, actually. Will it be next gen of MMOs? I don't bloody know. And we've got
Probably.
a few more. I don't know. It's got EverQuest in it. The fact that it's called EverQuest.
Looks nice, doesn't it? Looks
Remember when
pretty.
EverQuest, was it
does look
EverQuest
pretty.
2 said you can order pizza through it now? And everyone
Yeah.
went, oh my gosh. Yeah, that was years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
EverQuest
You
was
could just
weird.
order a pizza, I think, through the menu, so you never have to stop playing EverQuest 2.
All right, we've got a good question here from Lee Flanagan. Asks, if you were to switch lives with any other member of VideoGamer.com, who would it be and why?
Does it have to be forever? Can it just be like a day?
I don't know. I guess it can be for a day. I
Um,
guess that leaves it more open to...
I would switch with Brat, so I could see what it's like to be chirpy all the time.
Yeah, I'd
Just for
switch
a
with
day.
Brad, just so I could see what it's like not to hate the world for a day.
To have like
Just
the
for
innocence
a
of
fucking
youth.
day. Just one fucking day where I don't fucking hate everything.
I don't hate the world. Yeah,
I think I'd switch with you, Simon.
Oh, that's
Just
nice.
to experience pure strength. for
Yeah,
a day.
Oh,
I'd spark someone out. I'd switch to Simon. I'd go fucking kill a man, just how
Yeah.
it feels.
I
And then
find
you go to
it
jail,
difficult going
and you'd be like, "It
upstairs."
wasn't me.
It was
It
Matt
wasn't me.
Lees
It was
being
Matt
me,"
Lees.
and
He was
I
in
get
control
put
of
in
me."
the
And
hospital.
I'd be like, "That's crazy. That's the thing a crazy person would say." And then I'd
Lock
wander
him
off,
away.
and smile at the camera, and
Yeah.
cackle.
I don't know if the people listening know who Andy Spenceley is, but
He's our ads manager.
I would like to see what it's like in his head.
I was going to say, just to see how he sees the world.
Yeah.
Slight spoiler, a bit like that bit in Bioshock 2. If you haven't played Bioshock 2 yet, I recommend it because it's a really, really actually a good game.
But more hip hop, maybe.
I'd love to see what he looks like, how he sees the world. Or actually, a bit like in Psychonauts when you go into the minds
That's what
of
it would be
people.
like when it's really colourful, but
You
with
see
a
how
really,
they
really
see
dark
it.
side.
It's like everything's like do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do. Yeah, so that's a good question. I love these questions. We've got some good ones this week, actually. Do a couple of bonus ones. I'm sorry, this is just
Trumpet. I like that trumpet interlude.
trumpet interlude.
Mouth trumpet interlude.
Harry Hawkins says, given the recently dire performance of the Wii U, do you think it could bounce back? The answer is no.
No, it can. It can. We must believe. We must believe.
Nope.
I think if Mario Kart had been out this year, it'd have a
I'm
better
still standing
chance.
by it. I don't
To
count
be
Nintendo.
honest, Nintendo are a bit too loyal when it comes to doing what they say they're going to do. Now, this makes me sound like Captain Evil, admittedly, and you've just given me the
I don't
eyebrows.
understand. I didn't understand. I don't understand.
Right,
What you're
here's the problem, right? What they did when do you remember when the Zelda game, Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword, yeah, can't. Well,
When
too
did
late.
that come out?
Way too late on the
Way
Wii.
too late. By the point at which
So did
most
Twilight
people,
Princess.
Twilight Princess did, but at least they had the sense to put it on both
True,
consoles.
yeah.
With Skyward Sword, why did they bring it out at a point at which no one was really playing Wii anymore?
I can't answer that question.
Why didn't they save it and release it in HD as a launch title for the Wii U?
I can't argue with that.
Precisely. No one can. And what worries me...
I bet
is-
Nintendo would try.
yeah, but they're Muppets. Because honestly, what
Imagine
worries
they were.
what worries me, I reckon they are. I reckon it's Beaker, and I'm just saying that because
Running
I might look a lot like Beaker, which means I can see into his mind. But they're going to release Mario Kart on the Wii U, and they're going to release the Zelda. They're going to release all the good games at the end of the Wii U, and then they're going to bring out their next console, and they're going to go, oh, we don't have any games again. And it's just like, don't do it.
You know what? Yeah, that is bad. They do
you know
need
what?
to,
Just at this stage, you've sold so few Wii U's. Risk really fucking off your audience. Make another console,
And also,
just bring out some bloody good games.
the
for it.
other problem is, where is the Wii U Mario game? Because so far we haven't got the Wii U Mario game.
Well,
Galaxy is quintessentially a Wii game. Mario 64 is quintessentially a Nintendo 64 game. Where is the Wii U Mario game?
Well,
The Mario game we got coming in December is cool, but it's not the one.
I agree, but I think some people would seem to think it's brilliant. But it does. It
is
feels
brilliant.
Like,
I played
feels like
it, but
an extension of the 3DS game.
Exactly. It
rather than,
doesn't feel like it's defining.
Like, I
They've
would
always had that.
like everyone's waiting for like the Galaxy. For,
Exactly.
for
I don't
Wii
know
U.
why they don't do HD versions, because I have it on good authority from the emulation community that a lot of Wii games, including the Galaxy games, are actually basically made in HD, but then scaled down to SD. So apparently if you emulate them, you can see all this amazing detail in the game that you just physically can't see. So what the... But if you've got it, it's like...
Flaunt it.
It's like, use it. Use it. It's like a wizard with a magic spell that he won't use.
I'm worried they're
going to
make those decisions based on how well Wind Waker does at the end of the year.
Which won't do well.
Yeah.
It's not the
It's
right
an
one.
old game that people
And
don't
it's
want
the
to play.
wrong time.
And
It's a
that's the
critical
one
darling,
game
but-
that has an art style that need updating.
Yeah, precisely.
Anyway,
It's
I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for Wii
but
U.
having said that, they don't need to bounce back because they're making tons of money from the 3DS at the moment, so everything's fine. And will there be a spin the bottle rematch? I don't know if we can do that again. That was
We
bit
don't need a
intense.
rematch.
You should watch the video of that if you've not seen it. It's mental. There's a point at which me and Simon are both on our knees on more than one occasion. Jeez.
I'm always on my knees.
And this is the final question, actually, which is an interesting one, was Laura Rich, who asks, how many 360 games tall are you? And this was directed at me, and I thought this was an interesting question to the point at which, actually, we worked it out before the podcast, and I am 100, and if you just stack them up normally, I'm 132.
There's a picture
Xbox
somewhere
games.
as well.
And I've taken a photo.
How did you work this out? It wasn't just using maths, was it?
No, I could have used maths,
Yeah.
but that would
Well,
have
we
been
got games
boring.
and we stacked them up.
So we stacked up 100. We stacked up a bunch, and I'm 132. There'll be a photo of this on Twitter, VideoGamerCom. So it's at VideoGamerCom, as in .com, but without the com dot.
No, without a dot.
I
Without
don't
a
know
dot.
who came up with that, but honestly, like that was a bad idea.
There's no video game available, and you can't have dots.
Did they have Video Gamer UK?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway,
It's
Let's make a switch.
VideoGamer.com.
Let's change it.
No, not now.
do it now.
Oh, we're not announcing
we're in
that
too
right
deep
now?
now.
Jesus, Dave. So yeah, there'll be a picture of that. Proof, 132 games. And finally, before we log off for the evening, for the afternoon, for the day, whichever part of the day you're listening to this, we have the announcement of the Member of the Month competition. For those who don't know, mega quick recap, Member of the Month. Every month we have 3 games to give away. You can choose whichever game you want, providing it's not more than £50. And it's thanks to the lovely chaps at shop2.net. And you win one of the games just by being the best person on the forum, as voted for.
The man.
As voted for
Or the
by the
woman.
forum, our devilish clique. You also, anyone who votes for a member gets put into a raffle to win a free game. And then thirdly, we have a competition in which we get a bit of talent and flair. And I must say, I've got to say, in the past 6 months since I've been here, that I've been so impressed with the increasing quality for podcast competitions. We've got some really talented...
Even the shit ones are funny.
Even the shit ones are brill. So, yeah, I love you guys. You're a lovely bunch. Anyway, that's the end of the saccharine. Back to the bite. Member of the month is Wangtasm, who is the guy who made the incredible...
Wangtasm.
Wangtasm. What a beautiful wang.
Wangtasm.
Wangtastic. He's the guy who made the Pants Man ballad. Have you all heard that?
Yes, well done,
So we
Wangtasm.
finished
That
Pants
was
Man,
good.
and he wrote a whole song about Pants Man.
Well done, Wangtasm.
And it was
Hey.
genuinely really good. That's on the forum. If you want to, we'll make sure that when we put up the Member of the Month announcements, we link that in. I'll tell Brat to do that. Good man. And vote of the month is Clockpunk. Congratulations, Mr. Clockpunk,
Congratulations.
on your random win. And the podcast winner, this was really tough because obviously the competition was Pimp My Dog, which we did specifically, very specifically say, don't do anything sexual.
Which kind of
involving
just
dogs.
opened the door for everyone to do sexual things.
But obviously that means that none of those guys didn't have a chance of winning.
Yeah.
But some of them might have made me laugh. Anyway, the winners, we'll start off with the honourable mentions, actually. Ty Happ really went literally with, he made Ultra Pimp Dog, which was
I
a
liked
sausage
Pimp
dog.
That was good.
It was very good. He had a cane, a top hat, and a cigar /
It
cigarello.
looked like he could have been in Saints Row the Third.
He did. And I liked Ultra Pimp Dog. That was a good pimped out dog. Mipley also. Mipley was a really close second because Mipley made Pacific Dogs. So it's like it was a Pacific Rim robot, but that was also a dog. and that was awesome. However, the winner, and there was actually another person who did a similar thing, but unfortunately, it didn't meet the criteria. Somebody did do an incredible drawing of the Video Gamer UK team as dogs.
That was amazing.
And it was amazing because of the fact that you could just look at the faces and
Especially
immediately
Steve
know.
Burns, yeah.
The Steve Burns dog was spectacular, as was Brat, as was mine. It was a fantastic drawing. However, it was just pictures of us as dogs. And as much as I love that, it wasn't actually what we asked people to do.
Taskmaster Matt, you must
Sorry,
stick to the rules.
The rules are rules. And the rules were that you had to kind of pimp out the dog somehow technologically. And so the winner was Lorexel,
Which is still very good, to be fair.
which is amazing, to be fair. And it was Simon, Brat, and me as dogs. And
Call of
there's-
Duty dogs, right?
They're basically Call of Duty dogs, yeah. So Brat's got a little harness. He doesn't appear to have any special abilities. You've got what appears to be a bloody laser cannon strapped to your dog
Love
bag.
my laser cannon.
And I have just got, I'm assuming it's some sort of comms device, but it looks a bit like one of those neck braces from Battle Royale that blow up.
It does,
Which is obviously quite a
Or
sinister
the
thing to
film
put on the dog.
Fortress.
Or the film Fortress. But that's an excellent picture. And yeah, if you want to have a look at the best ones, then obviously we did put up a video about that last week as well. But just go on the forum. But yeah, we will announce our Member of the Month competition for next month, next week. And obviously it will involve doing something stupid. So if you are that sort of person, get involved. Anyway, that's the end of this week's podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have enjoyed, then please write a letter to iTunes informing them that you'd like to see more of this sort of thing. And also get in touch with your local MP. My name's Matt Lees. Been joined by Simon Miller.
Thank you very much.
Dave Scannell.
Adios.
And Tom Orry.
Right.
Bye.